Hi, Joyce here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create drop-down lists in your Excel databases. In a database, it is very important that you enter your data correctly. For example, if I was to enter Jerry with a G and then another time type Jerry with a J, those two are not going to match, and that's going to create problems. So there is a feature in Excel called data validation that allows you to set rules and apply them to cells to control the value that's allowed to be entered into that cell. And the feature that we're going to be taking a look at, of course, is drop-down list. So I'm going to create a drop-down list for the salespeople. And the first thing that I have to do is I have to have this list somewhere. So I'm just going to go up and click on the drop-down triangle. I have filter turned on here. So I'm going to click on my filter drop-down. And I can see that I have 4 salespeople: Jerry, Jim, Matt, and Sarah. So I'm going to go to my other sheet here and type in their names: Jerry, Jim, Matt, and Sarah. Just going to go back to my first tab, to my database, and the name of that field is salesman. I'm going to go back and put that in. Okay, so now I can go back to my database tab, and I'm all ready to set up my drop-down list. So the first thing I need to do is I need to select the cells that I want to apply this rule or this list to. So I'm going to click in cell B4, the first cell that I want to apply the rule to, and I want to select from here all the way down to the very end of the worksheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the Shift key on the keyboard, because that will allow me to select as I move down in my workbook. Then I'm going to press the End key, like end of story, the End key, and release it. I'm still holding down the Shift, and then I'm going to press my down arrow and release it. So that took me to the end of my data. I want to now continue on down to the very bottom of my column. So I'm still holding down the Shift key. I'm going to press the End key again and the down arrow. And that takes me all the way to the bottom. So I've selected the cells that I want to apply the rule to. Now I just go to my Data tab, and I go to Data Validation. And in the dialog box here, I can indicate what I want to allow. So I'm going to click on the drop-down triangle to see what my options are. So there's a few different options here. You can indicate that only a whole number can be entered, or you can specify it has to be a date. And when you select an option in here, you'll get other boxes in this dialog box in which, for example, if I was to select a date, I could say, and it has to be later than or before or within this range. However, we're using lists, so I'm going to click on List. And all that we have to tell it is where this list is. So I'm going to click on Source, and I'm going to go to my Sheet 4 tab, and I'm going to highlight the cells that contain the names that I want to allow in the list. And I'm going to click on OK. That's it. I'm done. Very easy. So you can see if I click in any cell in the salesman column, I get this drop down and I have the 4 acceptable names. I'm just going to go down to the bottom again, so I'm going to press End and the down arrow. I'm going to go down one more cell. So if I was entering new records, it would be very simple just to click on the list and click on the option I want. This way, you're ensured that the name is going to be spelled correctly, and it's a fast way of entering the data. I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to show you another option that you have for creating a drop-down list. So I'm going to create a drop-down list for region. I'm just going to click on my filter button, and I can see that I have 3 different regions, east, north, and west. It's going to cancel out. By the way, the sequence in which you enter the names in your list, that is how they actually appear. That is the sequence they're going to appear in your list. So I'm going to go back to sheet 4, type in region, and enter my 3 regions, east, north, and west. So another option that I have is I can name these 3 cells that are containing the values that I want to include in my list. To name the cells, you select the cells, click up on the name box, and type in whatever name you want to give to those cells. So I'm going to call them region. So now, if I wanted to, I could go up to the name box, click on the drop-down triangle, and you can see my region is there. If I click on it, it highlights the cells, which I named region. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my database, and I'm going to create my drop-down list for region. So once again, I need to highlight the cells that I want this rule to apply to. And I'm going to hold down the Shift key so I can select. I'm going to press the End key, release it, press a down arrow. Once again, press the End key, release it, press a down arrow, and now I can release the Shift key. Go back into data validation. Once again, I want a list. And for my source, I can simply type equals region. So I'm using the range name that I gave to the cells that contain the values that I want to allow. It doesn't matter which way you do it, whether you do it this way or the way that I originally showed you, makes no difference. Choose the method that you prefer. So I'm just going to click on OK to accept that, and you can now see if I click on any cell in the region, I have my options there. Might as well do the last one here. Let's go to the drop down for product. And so we've got flooring, super glue, and tools. Go over to sheet 4. Product, flooring, super glue, and tools. I'm not going to name these, so I'm going to go back and use the first method. Just go bold these headings here so that they stand out as being headings. So back to my database. I want to select the cells that I want to apply my rule to. So holding down the Shift key and keeping it held down, I'm going to press End and press the down arrow, release it, press End and release it, and press the down arrow and release it, and release the Shift key. Then I'm going to go back to my Data tab, go to Data Validation. I'm going to allow a list, I'm going to click in the source, and I'm going to go and find my list. So I'm going to go to sheet 4 and highlight the cells containing the values that I want to allow. Now, before I click on OK, I just want to point out that you can add an input message. In the case of a drop-down list, it doesn't make a lot of sense to add the message, but I will add it so that you can see what it looks like. When you add the message, it's going to bring up a dialog box. A dialog box always has a heading, or a title. So I'm going to type products. And then the input message would just be the instructions that you want to give to the person entering data. So I'm going to simply type in here, click on the drop-down triangle to select the correct product. And you can also go to the Error Alert tab, and normally I just leave this alone. So the way it's set now, they have to enter one of those values from the list. If they don't, they're not going anywhere. But what I could do is, first of all, I could type in a message. So if they try and type in the cell, I can maybe say in here that they have to select from the list. So I'm going to call this product error, the title. And in the error message, I'm going to say, you must select from the list. And maybe if I put 3 exclamation marks, I'll get their attention. I could also choose, however, to just give them a warning. And in that case, they would get a warning whatever I type in here, but they would be allowed to continue. I'm going to click on OK. So now you can see if I type on one of the cells for which I've applied the rule, the message comes up. And if I try to type something in here that's not allowed, an error message comes up. And you can see it's exactly what I typed in, what is happening, or what is being displayed here. So that is drop-down lists. Once again, great tool, really important to ensure that you enter your data correctly in a database if you want to get proper results. So use the data validation tools to help you do so. So that concludes what I want to show you today. I'd like to thank you for watching the video. And you may have noticed that a button has popped up on the screen. As my free gift to you, I would love to offer you a list of my very favorite tips and/or shortcuts. So please click on the button and request your copy. Thank you. I'll see you in the next video.